Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're taking a look at 20 facts about Luigi's Mansion that you may not have known about. Before we begin, we publish new videos all week long, so be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. 3D Origins. When Luigi's Mansion was remade for the 3DS, many fans took umbrage with this due to the fact that many had already abandoned the handheld in favor of the then newly released Switch. The thing is that Nintendo had a solid reason for this release. During development of the original game, the development staff had messed with full-on popping 3D visuals. But during the late 90s, when the game was still in production, incorporating 3D visuals on TVs was still incredibly expensive, far more than it is today. And so the idea was scrapped until we got the remake in 2018. In a way, it feels like the project managed to come full circle here. Mario's Dollhouse. You might be surprised to know that Luigi's Mansion was initially not going to be a haunted house game. It wasn't even supposed to be a game starring Luigi. Development began with a game that featured Mario navigating a, quote, Japanese-style ninja house, end quote, as it was described by leads in an interview published in the Luigi's Mansion Player's Guide. Then, it strangely transformed into a dollhouse as the team started messing with lighting and shadows, soon incorporating ghosts into the setting. From there, it was decided that Luigi should be the cowardly star of this new game. Manifesting the Lunchbox. One little tidbit about both Luigi's Mansion and the Nintendo GameCube you may not have known is that both the game and the console were developed alongside each other. Because the two products were made in tandem, the team was able to request several improvements in key features for the GameCube to support that the N64 couldn't. Some of these features included dynamic lighting, realistic displays of particles for fire, water, air, and more, and a special request for the controller to come with 2 analog sticks as opposed to the N64's single analog stick. Not only did this help flesh out the game a lot more, but it also helped turn Luigi's Mansion into a memorable tech demo for the purple lunchbox. Continuity in ranks. With all of the different ranks in Luigi's Mansion, it'd be easy for Nintendo or Next Level Games to just kind of ignore that portion of the game for sequels. And yet, Next Level kind of acknowledged it when making Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. The long-awaited sequel starts off with Luigi sitting at his home.
Whoa. Huh?
Although players of the OG game will notice that Luigi's abode resembles one of the homes that replaces the first game's mansion at the end. Unfortunately, it looks like Luigi didn't grab much cash and only managed to earn himself the rank D mansion.
No.
The elusive S rank. Speaking of ranks, there is one rank that most players may not have attempted, the S rank. This was a new rank introduced in the 3DS remake and is only attainable after you have beaten the game once. In order to try and earn it, you will have to survive the Hidden Mansion, which is unlocked after your initial playthrough. This mode houses ghosts that hit harder, boast more health, and move faster. Some rooms even contain ghosts different from the ones you encountered in your first run. Should you make it through the campaign with almost all of the possible treasure you can collect, you will earn the S-Rank Mansion. Backseat Booze. To an outsider, Luigi's Mansion might seem a tad bizarre in how little crossover there is with the Super Mario franchise. Sure, Mario, Peach, and the Toads make appearances, but overall, just about every enemy is an original character, and even the occasional NPC like Poltergust. You would think the easy solution would be to just litter Mario's enemies throughout the mansion, or just design different types of boos. Well, the reason why the staff went with original characters was to make the game stand out from what we've already seen in the Mushroom Kingdom. Even the boos got some slight tweaks in their visuals, just to keep things unique to Luigi's Mansion. Pianissima's Passion. The conservatory is one of the coolest moments in the original Luigi's Mansion because of the brief moment of Super Mario love on display. Hitting the instruments will cause the main theme to start playing, but the references don't stop there. Once you've summoned Melody, she'll play you a brief excerpt of music before asking you a question about it. One tune will be the underwater theme from Super Mario Bros., while the other tune will be Athletic BGM from Super Mario Bros. 3. Unfortunately, these are the only tunes in both the original game and the 3DS remake. But if Luigi's Mansion ever gets a remake, you know she's going to get a larger wealth of new music to pull from and test our knowledge. Scarescraper skins. Did any of you ever get around to trying out the Scarescraper mode in Dark Moon or Luigi's Mansion 2 HD? For those that did you ever notice anything about the alternate colors Luigi can wear? Looks familiar, right? Well, that's because these color schemes were lifted straight out of a completely different game. Luigi first donned these different colors many years before Dark Moon was released, in a little game called Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Each of the colors in Dark Moon are the alternate skins Luigi wears in Brawl, and those same colors are present in the Smash games that came after as well. I dream of Gooigi. One of the strangest aspects of the 2018 remake of Luigi's Mansion was the addition of multiplayer. Just as we could in Dark Moon, a second player could take control of Gooigi to help the cowardly plumber turned ghost hunter. There is a narrative explanation for this feature too. The Professor Egad we see in Dark Moon sends Gooigi to the Egad in the past in order to conduct some further testing. Remember, this is Professor Egad we're talking about, so of course he's the one that would be used to justify sudden time travel. The Three Giants collab. If you haven't already been to a Dave & Buster's, a Round 1, or any other arcades that are alive and thriving, there is a Luigi's Mansion arcade game you can play. Luigi's Mansion Arcade is a rail shooter where you and a friend can venture through different environments to catch ghosts. Perhaps the most surprising part about this game is how Nintendo worked with two other Japanese game companies to make this a reality. The game was developed and published by Capcom, while Sega provided the hardware and some of the marketing. Collaborations like this just don't come as often anymore. Audio afterthought. Anyone who has played Luigi's Mansion will be familiar with the theme song by this point. How many times did we catch ourselves humming or whistling along with Luigi while exploring the mansion's hallways? Funny enough, this part of the game was never planned. Originally, the staff was going to put in background music, as you would expect any game to have. It wasn't until close to the end of development when Luigi's humming and whistling were seen as a more suitable replacement for music. Not only that, but Luigi's call for Mario was also conceived during the final stretch of development.
Mario!
Professor Crossing. Professor Egad is one of the strangest Mario characters, not because of his appearance, but because of his unique speech. A lot of his speech is essentially gibberish with some actual Japanese language sprinkled in, like yabo yabo, suka suka, choto, oyama, and of course, Luigi. Everything else in between is gibberish uttered by Kazumi Totaka, famed composer for a variety of Nintendo games. Totaka designed EGAD's speech after the phonetics heard by the various villagers featured in Animal Crossing, which Totaka had also been working on during development of Luigi's Mansion. If you see a ghost, don't forget to scream! For a game released in 2001, Luigi's Mansion gave our lean green bean a lot of personality in his running, vocals, and general motions. There's a lot of expression here on display. Understandably so, Next Level Games wanted to take advantage of newer technology when developing Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon for the 3DS. For their own animations, they looked to a bit of an unexpected character for inspiration, the British comedian character known as Mr. Bean. In an interview with Polygon, director Bryce Holiday stated that Luigi and Mr. Bean were similar in that they were both, quote, a hapless fool and reluctant hero. He's trying to live his life, but you know what the joke is before he does, end quote. We all float down here. Luigi's Mansion 3 is packed with many Easter eggs and references to both past Super Mario games and other Nintendo games, namely those developed by Next Level Games. But what was really shocking were the nods to various horror movies featured, particularly one IP known to be absolutely gruesome. While exploring the sewers of the hotel, you may stumble across a red balloon floating in one of the corridors. There is also a paper sailboat floating around the water before you drain the sewers. These are very distinct references to the 2017 film adaptation of Stephen King's It. The first movie was released during development of Luigi's Mansion 3, which means some of the staff likely had Pennywise on the brain. Funny how LM3 launched a little more than a month after It Chapter 2 released as well. Acknowledging the vacuum in the room. If you've played both Luigi's Mansion and Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, you likely noticed an odd exclusion somewhere. In the first game, we obviously used the Poltergust 3000, but Dark Moon skips over and gives us the Poltergust 5000? If that is truly a mystery to you, you may not have played Mario Kart DS. In this game, characters were given their own special carts. Luigi, able to drive the Poltergust 4000. And what about the other models? Where are Poltergust 1000, 2000, and 6000? Well, Poltergust 1000 was first featured in a browser game called Poltergust, which was featured on the Luigi's Mansion microsite. As for Poltergust 2000 and 6000, it's still a mystery. The Dust Bunny of the team. Not to deviate from the topic at hand, but you know how one person worked on Batman's cape for 2 years during the development of Batman Arkham Asylum? Well, Luigi's Mansion had a similar situation for a detail even smaller than cape physics. As we mentioned earlier, Luigi's Mansion was developed while the GameCube was still being made and tested. One feature that the developers requested was the ability for the console to display realistic particle effects for elements like fire, water, and air. To display this, one staff member had the sole responsibility of programming all of the dust in the game. Yes, all of the dust you vacuum up and all of the dust that poofs out from furniture, that was all done by a single person. No rest for the wicked. Even though they take a bit of a backseat for the portrait ghosts, boos are still a prominent part of the Luigi's Mansion series. Every game gives them slight redesigns and tweaks in animations, so they get plenty of love and care. However, one boo in particular was ripped from a completely different game. Ever take a good look at the boo sprite in the 3DS remake? This sprite is the same exact sprite that was used for Super Mario Maker when building levels in the classic Super Mario Bros. Style. You would think they would just use the icon from the original game, or use an edited version of King Boo's icon in text boxes. Now showing guts and glory. In Luigi's Mansion 3, you will have to explore an entire floor dedicated to the world of cinema. It's here that you'll encounter a puzzle inspired by The Ring, but that's not the main focus for this entry. As you're about to enter the studio, you will find a set of movie posters. Each poster is a reference to another Nintendo game, all made by Next Level Games. One poster displays Little Mac and Doc from Punch-Out, while another shows Mario charging up to kick a soccer ball, as seen in Super Mario Strikers. But one poster in particular shows characters from Metroid Prime Federation Force. That title even gets another shout out earlier in the game. You'll catch Amadeus playing music from Federation Force just moments before you fight him. Whatever happened to Totaka? Well, we know what happened to Totaka. He did music and sound design for Animal Crossing right before working on Luigi's Mansion. But what of his trademark song, Totaka's Song? Is there anywhere that this can be heard in Luigi's Mansion? Well, you can absolutely hear it. And you don't have to go through an arduous process to hear it either. All you have to do is open the controller configuration menu in the training room, so start the tutorial basically, and wait about 3.5 minutes. What's really weird is that a more upbeat version of the song is in Luigi's Mansion's files, assigned to be a part of Melody's encounter. However, no method for triggering this has been found yet. And lastly, a year of nightmares. In 2013, Nintendo dedicated an entire year of new game releases and celebrations to Luigi. In addition to the highly requested follow-up to Luigi's Mansion, we saw 3 other Luigi-focused games in Mario & Luigi Dream Team, New Super Luigi U, and Dr. Luigi. Unfortunately, all of these games, coupled with the abysmal sales of the Wii U, caused one of the worst financial performance years in Nintendo's century-long history, totaling to just a little under $500 million in losses. Not only that, but actor Danny Wells, who played Luigi in the animated series The Super Mario Bros. Super Show, had passed away during the year of Luigi. And we have yet to commemorate another year to the brother in green ever since. Did any of these Luigi's Mansion tidbits surprise you? Let us know down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to MojoPlays for more great videos every day.